Hello everyone, welcome to Algebra 1 class. This is Mom Joy and I'm here to help you out in your next math journey. This time, we're now on Chapter 2, Lesson 2 of Linear Equations and Inequalities. Lesson 2.2 is Addition Property of Equality. In this video, you're going to learn how to check the solution to an equation by substitution and use the addition property of equality to solve an equation. Before we begin, I suggest you get a pen and a paper to jot down notes in order to benefit more on this video presentation. So are you ready? Let's proceed. So it's time to refresh our minds by doing this problem. So let's read all together. Ready? Go. When light comes into contact with any object, it is reflected and transmitted. For a certain type of glass, 88% of the light hitting the glass is transmitted through the other side, whereas 6% of the light is absorbed into the glass. To find the percent of the light that is reflected by the glass, we can solve the equation 88 plus r plus 6 is equals to 100. How are you going to solve this problem? Well, go ahead, write down your solutions as comments below, and we'll get back on your solutions later. Okay? Now, let's review first some important terms that you needed in this lesson. The solution set. The solution set for an equation is the set of all the numbers that, when used in the place of the variable, make the equation a true statement. What does it mean? The statement ends up as a true statement if the number you substituted in the equation is part of the solution set. Clear? No. Okay, the statement only ends up as a true statement if the value that we substitute into the equation is a solution, meaning the left side of the equation is exactly equal to the right side of the equation. Or we say, if two or more equations with the same equivalent set, these equations are said to be equivalent equations. Addition property of equality is very simple, easy to understand. It says, for any three algebraic expressions a, b, and c, if a is equals to b, then a plus c is equals to b plus c. In other words, adding the same quantity to both sides, here we have c added to the left side and the right side of an equation. This will not change the solution set. So the value of the left side is still equivalent to the value of the right side. The identity property of addition. It states that for any property x, x plus 0 is equals to x. Everybody knows this. Any number added to 0 is equivalent to the original number. So 5 plus 0 is equals to 5. 3/4 plus 0 is still 3/4. Whatever number is that added to 0 will give us the same original number. Next, the inverse property of addition. The inverse property of addition states that for every number x, x plus a negative x is equals to 0. So here, the inverse is simply the opposite of the number. And when the two added, we get nothing, 0. So here in our example, 4 and negative 4 are considered opposites. If we add them, 4 plus negative 4 is as well 0. Asked, why is it 4 plus negative 4 is equals to 0? Using an illustration, positive moving to the right side and negative moving to the left side, you see that these two distances are exactly the same. Therefore, there is no change either going right or left. So it remains nothing or 0. So we need to remember the opposite operations because this is useful in this lesson. Okay? Now the opposite of addition is subtraction, or the opposite of subtraction is addition. So addition and thus subtraction, and subtraction and thus addition. Okay, clear? Now let's apply the rule of opposites. Okay, so first, x minus 3 is equals to 11. Now to find x, we need to set aside only x on the left side or on the other side of the equation. Only x alone on one side of the equation. So how are we going to get rid of negative 3? We need negative 3 to be 0. And in order to get 0, we need to add negative 3 to its opposite. So we can do negative 3 plus 3. Okay, so remember the addition property of equality. Whatever you do on the left side, you have to do to the right side to keep the equation equivalent. Now we have x minus 3 plus 3. We know that negative 3 plus 3 is 0, and x plus 0 is x. And 11 plus 3 is 14. So we have x is equals to 14. Now we can do to the rest. So y minus 5, we plus 5, and we plus 5, our y is equals to 19. Number 3, n minus 2 equals to 16. So it's very simple. N is equals to 16 plus 2, which is 18. And the rest follows. So here, our x should stay on the right side, and we have to add 5, and we have to add 5. So therefore, x is equals to 16. For number 5, we need to add 3 on both sides. So 16 plus 3 is 19. N is equals to 19. And on the last one, okay, we don't have to do anything aside from subtracting the two numbers. So 12 minus 3 is just 9. So k is equals to 9. Understand? Very good. Now this time I want you to pause this video and answer the next 6 questions. Are you done? Okay, we can check your work. Okay. Okay, there you go. This time we will translate the sentences into equations and then we solve. So it's very important to remember or understand the keywords that will help us solve the problem. First, I want you to understand that the word is means equal. So for number 13, the difference of k and 11 is 32. Difference, what does it mean? We have to subtract k and 11. But which one comes first? The difference of k and 11. So we have to do left to right. So this is exactly k minus 11 is equals to 32. So the difference of k and 11 is 32. Now how are we going to solve the difference? So k minus 11 is equals to 32. Of k, we simply add 11 on both sides. So that will be k is equals to, this is 3, this is 4, is equals to 43. Number 14, 6 less than t is 12. The word again here is less, so we have to subtract. But which one comes first? Are we going to write t minus 6 is equals to 12 or 6 minus t is equals to 12? Now, every time you see the word less than, this is the number you subtract from the second one. So t minus 6 is equals to 12, and to solve for t, we simply add 6 on both sides, and that will give us t is equals to 18. Now, the next set of work is very simple, and I know that you can do this. So get your pencil and try to fill out the missing numbers within the boxes. Okay, so please check your work. Continue to do the practice, and this time you have to deal with the decimals. Don't worry, it's not that hard. I know you can do it. Okay, ready to check? Go ahead. So how's your performance so far? Getting better? Wow, that's good. Moving on. Lessons won't be meaningful unless we apply to real life situations. When we solve problem, we have to follow some important steps. Number one, we need to define the variable, meaning introduce the variable that will represent the missing quantity in your equation or expression. Number two, we translate and write the statement into algebraic expression in order for us to solve. And then, of course, we consider what operations are necessary, and then finally, we work on its solution. But it doesn't stop there. You have to go back and check your work. Make sure that the equation works well and your answer is practical and realistic. So let's start with number 1. Matt scored 85 on his last test. This is 16 points higher than he scored on his first test. What was his score on the first test? What are the givens? 85 is the score on his last test. And this, what is this? This refers to this 85. So this 85 is 16 points higher. What do we use here? Higher is a plus. Then he scored on his first test. Now what is missing? The score on his first test, right? That's what we need to find out. So first, we introduce the variable. So since it's a test, we can use T, the first letter. So we let T be the first test score. And then next, we write the equation. 85, this is 16 more, that's plus, than his first test. So first test plus 16 is 85. Now, it's time to find the T, or the first test score. Okay, so this whole thing is the last test. So we subtract 16 on both sides. 85 minus 16 is equals to 69. And that will be 16 minus 16 is 0. And we end up with a T. And so here our T is equals to 69. So meaning the first test score, which is T, is 69. Number 2, a gazelle can run at a speed of 50 miles per hour. This is 10 miles per hour slower than the speed of a cheetah. What is the speed of the cheetah? Now this question is very similar to the first one, only that the situation is quite different. So to solve the problem, first we identify the variable. So let x be the speed of the cheetah. And then we write the inequality. This is the 50 miles per hour is the cheetah speed minus 10. So that will be 50 is equals to x minus 10. Okay, and to find the value of x, we subtract 10 on both sides. So x is equals to 60. And that is the speed of the cheetah. Problem number 3. The Sears Tower is 110 stories tall. This is 8 stories taller than the Empire State Building. How many floors is the Empire State Building? So again, first, we identify the variable. Let x be the number of stories in the Empire State. And then, followed by our equation. So 110, this is the one. This is equals to 8 taller. So it's equals to 8 plus x. So that will give us 110 is equals to x plus 8. And then to get the value of x, we subtract both sides by 8. And so our x is equals to 102. So there are 102 floors in the Empire State. Isn't it amazing and very tall? For the last one, number 4, can you try it out yourself and see if you really understand this lesson? So are you ready? Let's do this together. Let's read first. A submarine is 50 meters below the surface area of the ocean. Okay, let's illustrate. Let's say this is the top of the surface of the ocean. Okay, so 50 meters below. So that is under the water. So from here till here is 50 meters. But since it's below the surface area, then this is negative 50 meters. Okay, now the second sentence. A scuba diver is 5 meters below the surface. So if this one is the top of the surface again, and so 5 meters below will be from the top till, let's say here. So this is 5 meters. Since it's below, it's also negative. Now the question is, we're asked to write an equation to find their difference in elevation and solve. Meaning we need to get the distance, the difference from here till the bottom. Okay, let's denote that one as x. Okay, so we let x be the difference. Okay, difference in the elevation. So since we need to find a difference, we need to subtract the total and the scuba diver's distance. So that will be negative 50 minus negative 5 is equals to x. And then we proceed. Negative 50 minus and a minus will give us plus 5 is equals to x. Negative 50 plus 5 is negative 45. What does it mean again by negative? It's below. So meaning the difference is 45 meters below the surface of the ocean. So I guess it's practice time. I want you to continue working on these exercises. So please pause this video and get the questions. And of course, you may continue it afterwards to check your answers. So are you ready? Here are the answers. Okay. Next. You may pause the video if you want to see the step-by-step solutions of these questions. Okay, let's proceed. So that's all. I hope that you have done your work well and you have further improved your skills this time. So I guess that's all for this lesson, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!